Hey guys, Yugi for all here. So with the current backlog with PSA and BGS and all that stuff, me being from Canada, I'm going to try this new company called MNT, Mint, I guess is what it's called. I guess their turnaround times are pretty quick and their cost is pretty cheap. So it's worth giving it a try. I guess their grading scale is pretty much on par with BGS as how strict they are. It also does subgrades and does an overall grade. Their slabs are pretty clean as well. So I'm just gonna give a quick video on what cards I'm sending in. Then I should be getting the cards back by the time I post this video. So just to kind of quickly go over an LOB Blue Eyes. It is a reprint, but it's still very, very clean card. Very well centered. All these scratches you see are on the case. Very nice card. LOB Dark Magician. I pulled this one myself. It's a little OC, left to right. But other than that, the card is really, really, really clean. Magical Hats, I just pulled this, first edition. Super well centered, no scratching, no nothing. Like, I think this card could gem if I were to send it to PSA, would be my guess. In the future, I plan on crossing all these over either to PSA or BGS. I just kind of want my cards protected at this point and kind of gauge the grading and if it's worth me sending and spending that extra money, especially with the conversion and the exchange rate and all that, to BGS, or if I should or PSA, or just crack it and put it in my binder. B-Skull, this one's really, really clean as well. I want to say, yeah, no, there was nothing wrong with this one. Again, it was very centered, no scratches, no dings, no nothing. Gate Guardian. It's a little OC top to bottom, but it shouldn't affect it too much. First Ed Mass Beast. Now this guy does have, you can kind of see it right there. There's like a binder ding. So that's gonna hurt it. But I just really love the card, and I figure this is probably going to get a PSA 8 just due to that. It is a little OC top to bottom, but again, it should fall in the parameters. Actually, it's a little OC left to right, top to bottom as well. So, but it still should fall into that 60-40 percentage. Air Knight, again, the typical LOD centering, off center, left to right, top to bottom. But this card is just so clean, and the art is just, I love it. So it's got to go in as well. And then this Dark Magician, I've had this since I was a kid. So no matter what it grades, I'm just going to keep it. I love the card. It's pretty clean. It does have some surface scratching. There's a little white nick right there, and it's OC, and there's some whitening on the edges. Like, if I were to send this PSA, it'd probably get a 7 or an 8, but I just really enjoy the card. So I'm going to send these off in the morning, and you should be seeing the returns right now. All right, guys, so the grades have finally returned. Took a little more than 2 days. They were extremely behind. Here in Canada, we're dealing with a bunch of like crazy restrictions due to COVID and all that stuff. So this took about a month. It looks like they're getting back on track though, so it shouldn't be too much longer until 2 days, actually 2 day, and so on and so forth. So I've got all the grades. I checked them all out. I do agree with the grades. I think that they were extremely strict but fair, and they graded accordingly. So I can definitely agree, and I highly suggest giving them a try, even if you don't want to use like your high expensive cards or high rarity cards or whatever else. But if you have like a bunch of personal collection cards, I suggest definitely giving them a shot. I can see this company growing tremendously just given the quality of the slabs. I have a BGS slab here that I will do a comparison at the end. The size is very, very similar, but anyway, let's get to the grades. So I did look at these. So here's the first one, Air Knight. I thought this card was really, really clean. However, I missed some stuff. So I can see it's off center. That's pretty obvious, left to right, top to bottom. However, on the back here, there's some whitening there, and on the corner that I did not see. And same with, there's some surface scratching, but the grade this got, I can definitely agree with. So it got a 7.5. The centering, a 9, because it is slightly off center. Surface is an 8. The corners and the edges, I can definitely agree with that, because there is edge wear, and there is like there's slight corner whitening here that I don't know how I missed that, but yeah. So that's number 1. They do get better as it goes on. So number 2 is Dark Magician. So I had this since I was a kid. I think I explained that in the earlier half of the video. I don't remember. It's been so long now. But I also agree with this grade. It is very well centered, and it does have scratching. It does have some edge wear and corner wear. Like, I had it since 2002. So this got an 8 though. So surface 7.5, edges and corners an 8, and centering a 9.5. So I can definitely agree with this this grade. I think it's very fair, very strict, and I think that was my biggest concern, is that they wouldn't have been as educated or strict as, like, say, PSA or BGS. So all in all, I think that's pretty fair, and I agree with it. So number 3, this Mass Beast. So this was the test card that I sent in. Centering's pretty good. It's a little OC left to right. This was the one that had the dent, a slight bend. I don't know if I can pick it up on camera. Yeah, you can kind of see it right here in the corner. This little dent here. So all in all, though, the card was pretty clean. So it got an 8.5. Surface 8, centering 9.5. I don't know how centering got a 9.5. I think they let that slip because it's clear that it's off center left to right. Top to bottom, it's pretty well centered, but everything else is an 8.5. So I think that's pretty fair. I actually think they're a little lenient on this one just because of that dent, or they missed it, which is very possible. But yeah. So I also tried, there was a issue with being able to pop these slabs open. If anything, I'm going to try it with this one, just because the grade's so low. You were able to, like, push down on the 2 corners and kind of twist it, and the seam would pop. But, like, I tried, and it's not doing anything. So they definitely fixed that issue. Like, that's not a problem at all. Like, I'm really pushing, and no issue there. So their quality of slabs are extremely nice. Extremely nice. So I think this is the last of Silver Label. So Gate Guardian. This was a nice, really clean car. Pretty well centered, other than top to bottom. The back looks pretty well centered. I don't think there was any edge wear on it at all. Back was pretty clean. Surface was pretty clean. So it got an 8.5, which I agree with. Corners got a 9. Centering got a 9. Edges 8.5, surface 8. So there's obviously some scratching that I didn't see or something, but like, there is a little bit of edge wear here. I can kind of see now that I'm looking under light. So I can definitely see the 8.5 on that one. But all in all, it's still pretty good grade. I'm pleased with it. I'm actually very, very pleased with all the returns. There's one that I'm kind of questionable on. I don't know why it got that grade, but I think it should be this one. No, it's not this one. So B-Skull, again, pretty clean, little off center top to bottom. There might have been a couple scratches on the back. I think there's a little white nick there, but all in all, got a 9. So edges 9.5, corners 9, surface 9, centering 9.5. So it's pretty clean. It's pretty good. I'm happy with that grade as well. Like, can't go wrong. The labels are really nice and gold. It's really hard to catch on camera how gold they actually are, because they look more yellow in pictures, but very, very beautiful. So this was the one that I had in question. So I pulled this card not that long ago, like a month and a half ago. Very, very well centered. It's a little, like, the centering's kind of like crooked, if that makes sense. But it's still pretty good. Like, it's almost bang on. The back, though, is off center. So that is what killed the centering grade, I think. But I thought they more were concerned about the front, but I must be wrong. So that's obvious that they're very, very strict on how they grade everything. But this got a 9 as well. Centering was a 9. Surface, it was the surface grade that was questionable, because there's no scratches, there's no dings. There is like foiling speckle. I don't know if I can pick it up on, like, you can kind of see it right there beside the top of the S if I move it back and forth, and that kind of goes throughout the whole top between the S and the trap symbol. So unless they got it for that, having the surface issue, but overall, I think that's a really nice grade, nice card. One of my favorites, so I'll be holding on to that one. This card I also pulled myself. So this Dark Magician, very nice, off center, left to right. Surface, pretty clean. But all in all, really nice. This got an 8. Surface 9.5, corners 9.5. Edges and centering. I agree with the centering. The edges, I don't know. I know they grade a lot of Pokemon, so Pokemon's very rounded, so I don't know if they think that all edges, not corners. So there must be something here that I missed. Like, there has to be. I don't know. Oh, right there. Right there. Yep, right there. So that top edge has some wear. Just because it's packed fresh does not mean it's mint. So very clean still. Another really beautiful card. And then the last one. So this card, very nice. Pretty center. Little foil shift. The back, though, is off center, left to right. I think there was some surface scratching on it. Like, it wasn't a perfect card, but it still scored pretty high because it got the gold label. But it got a 9. So the surface is an 8.5. Edges, centering 9.5, and corners 9. So, like, all in all, I think that's a really, really beautiful card. Nothing to complain about. I think these grades are great. So I'm going to compare it with a BGS slab. So this slab is much lighter. It feels better. This one is pretty heavy and bulky. You can see the thickness difference. They do fit together. They're almost identical in that aspect. Like, even where the label placement is, the card placement, the logo placement, but the thickness is different. You can tell this plastic is a little more like a thicker gauge plastic, but I do really, really like these. I think I'm going to start just using them straight, like, moving forward. I'm not going to use anybody else. I really see a lot of potential with this company. They, as soon as they get the turnaround time kind of resolved, I think that's going to resolve a lot of their biggest issue was the time delay, or they're going to up their price just like the other guys did. But I really do like the slabs. They're very, very clean. They're nice and light. The labels are nice and beautiful. Way better than I thought it would be, to be honest. And even in comparison to this, you can see how scratched up that is. You can, like, I'm sure this one will get to it at that point, but all in all, very pleased with the grades. Strict grading, fair grading, not just throwing darts at a wall trying to pick a grade. seeing that some other companies are doing that right now. But all right, that's all. I'm going to have another submission probably in another month or so. It's going to be a big one though. So thanks everyone for watching. Peace.